Well, you've now heard from some of our Washington delegation, and we appreciate them. We appreciate these Christian men trying to do battle in Washington, D.C. But ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you've noticed it, for some reason, those people in Washington, D.C., with the rare exceptions of some of these guys, somehow they can't seem to read the Constitution and understand what delegated power versus assumed power is. And that an action that is not constitutional is in fact an illegal action. Where do they get off thinking they can take our tax dollars and fund Planned Parenthood to begin with? And where do they get off thinking that they can rule by fiat from a high court with a 7-2 decision and say that states don't have the authority to determine whether they wish to legalize abortion or not? That's exactly what they did in 1973. They don't have the legal, lawful authority to do that. We've put up with it for too long. It's going to end beginning today. Please welcome to the stage one of our 775 pastors across the state of Oklahoma as he speaks on the topic of abortion. Please welcome from First Baptist Church in Edmond, Pastor Blake Gideon.
Well, I'd like to begin by reading a passage of Scripture from Psalms 139, verse 13. For it was you who created my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I stand today to say that in our day, it is a very dangerous place for a baby to be in a womb. Of course, this is tragic since the womb was created by God to be a place of security, growth, and life. Sadly, it's true for many unborn children that the womb is no longer a place of security, growth, and life. Since the legalization of abortion in 1973, more than 58 million babies have been killed. For over 40 years, abortion doctors have been violating the womb for the single purpose of ending life. In order to ease their own seared conscience, abortion activists scream women's rights, while at the same time denying the personhood of the baby in the womb. Many pro-choice activists will acknowledge the baby has human traits, while at the same time they deny that the baby is actually a person since it is still reliant upon its mother. This is nothing more than a psychotic attempt to avoid the obvious. Someone may ask, what is the obvious? The obvious is that the fetus in the womb is a real human being. The baby is a real person. Right. The attempt to deny the personhood of the baby is nothing more than philosophical gymnastics and only serves to reveal true human depravity. Right. Recently, the abortion technique has been exposed for what it truly is. Recent videos exposing Planned Parenthood show just how callous and barbaric abortion doctors are by harvesting body parts removed from the mother. Many will say the woman has a right to do with her body as she pleases. I say, what about the right of the baby? Right. Recent technological advances now let us know that the baby has its very own DNA code. So even though the baby is inside the mother, it is biologically and chemically distinguishable from the mother. Therefore, the baby is its very own person. Amen. Abortion doctors would also like for us to believe that the baby feels no pain during the abortion process. However, since the advanced ultrasound technology, we now have a window into the womb. Ultrasonic displays have shown babies shrinking back in pain and in terror from the probes during the actual function of abortion. We must ask the question, how did we get here? How is it that our nation has fallen so far? While I don't want to give a history lesson, I will say this, that it all began in the 18th century during a time known as the Age of Enlightenment. This is a time when human reason was placed above biblical truth. As a result, there was a shift from a biblical worldview to one of secular humanism. Right. Secular humanism is nothing more than an attempt at self-deification. Right. In other words, man's attempt to place himself as God. This has led to the complete denial of any basis for morality and the loss of what it means to be human and the value of human life. It is here that liberalism finds its origin. I understand that abortion is just a bigger battle we have with secular humanists, a part of a bigger battle that we have with secular humanists. But we must fight. At the same time, we must be honest. Over the past 40 years, many evangelical leaders either have been totally silent on abortion, and hear me now, or have qualified what they did say about abortion to such an extent that they really said nothing. We are not to bury our heads in the sand. Every Christian ought to be praying and working as hard as they can to nullify the abominable abortion laws of our country, and especially those in our own state.
Amen.
Oklahomans, we must be on the front lines, contending for the faith and confronting the moral breakdown of our society. Make no mistake about it. This is a life and death struggle that we cannot ignore. Our faith must lead us beyond mere pietism to activism. Together we must stand strong and loud for the life of the unborn. During the Holocaust, people were brainwashed into thinking it was okay to slaughter 6 million Jews. The Holocaust was no small thing, and we all acknowledge that. But it fails in comparison to the number of unborn babies who have been killed. People have been brainwashed today into thinking that abortion is okay. But we're here today to say it's not okay.
That's right.
It is the intentional effort to kill human beings, and it must stop.
Right.
We must stand together. We must not surrender. We must not bow down to the moral depravity of our culture. Slavery ended in America because we stood together and said, no, this is wrong. It's time that we stand together once again. We must stand together as Oklahomans and with one voice and say, no, abortion is wrong.
Right.
As you, I believe that every life is sacred and precious in the sight of God. Right?
Amen.
So hear what I'm about to say. Therefore, the day demands confrontation.
Right.
It must be loving, Christ-like confrontation, but there must be confrontation nonetheless.
That's right.
We must stand together and fight for life.